Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. Hello if you're new here. I'm Shanti, so welcome. And as you can probably tell by the title, we are going to be digging in today. Like, I wish I knew some of these things like probably 3 or 4 years ago, because it would have just put me more ahead. But nevertheless, like, I've learned so much within the last year, so I thought it was only right for me to come with this video to just share things that have been so transformative for me, and I feel like it will definitely be transformative for you. So as a 28-year-old entrepreneur, these are the things that I've learned within the last 365 days that I feel like every woman should know if you want to be successful. So the first one that has probably been the biggest game changer for me is networking. This is something that I really didn't put much of a value when it came to being an entrepreneur and building a business and trying to get connected to the right people. Like, I didn't feel like I had much of a regard for networking, and networking has just been one of the biggest pivoting points in terms of me growing and meeting people who have contributed to the success of my career and have been helping me on this journey. If you want to take up space in any given industry that you're in, you need to be connecting to the right people. I never really saw the importance of networking, and I think that came from being someone who is very introverted, who didn't have a lot of like social skills when meeting new people, who found it difficult to kind of like spark conversation or figure out what to say. I feel like with that nature that I had, it really held me back in a lot of areas, and I really just had to have like a reality check in terms of, if I want to get to places and if I want to grow, I'm gonna have to open my mouth and learn how to speak with people. So I would go to networking events alone. I would be somebody that would approach somebody instead of waiting for someone to approach me. All of these things really made all the kind of preconceived thoughts that I had about networking feel so much more easier and so much more doable, and it's been such a game changer. So if you want to see yourself grow, if you want to be connected to the right people, you have to be networking, you have to be talking to people, going to networking events, leverage things like LinkedIn. That's something I have been going crazy on recently, and like, so many people have started to connect with me, talk with me, want to meet, and it's just been so amazing. You need to be networking. That is non-negotiable this year. Networking needs to be your bag. So another thing that I realized a lot of successful women are doing is that they are building knowledge. So within the last 6 months, I started to read a lot more, and I just had to think about where my time was going and what am I investing in that will make me better. So I really had to cut down on the amount of time that I would spend on social media so that I can invest that time into building knowledge, becoming smarter, because being smart is currency. Being someone who's knowledgeable is currency. Like, these are things that can be very lucrative in the future when you're trying to build an income and increase financial stability in your life. It comes through building knowledge. So if you're just lounging around and wasting time and just getting distracted by the things of life, you don't want to realize later rather than sooner where all this time that you had could have been invested in. So yeah, I spent a lot more of my time reading books from authors, reading books that help with productivity, and reading books that really develop my knowledge in other areas and things that I want to become a bit more wiser in. And it's just so beautiful just to see a woman who is knowledgeable, who can stand 10 toes down on business. She knows how to articulate herself well, and even with like reading and getting into that habit of reading, you widen your vocabulary so much. Like, you really will see the depth of where like how you speak and how you communicate with people will really flourish, because you're just expanding your knowledge, you're learning new things. So prioritize learning and growing and building knowledge, and I think that comes by, even with like It can come by with reading books, it can be tapping into podcasts that are very educational. That there is so many things that you could do to really pour into that well of knowledge, and I've realized that is just such a key thing for any successful woman who is trying to build and grow. You need to have knowledge. Be smart. We are not striving to be uneducated women. We want to be women who are knowledgeable, who are intelligent, and who continue to build on these things. So the next thing is your surroundings. You have to surround yourself with people who are better than you. I'm telling you, this is such a game changer. Like, your environment and the people who are probably like in your immediate circle, or the people that you spend the most amount of time with. And don't get me wrong, like, obviously we may have friends that don't share the same interests when it comes to business, and that's completely okay. That is absolutely fine, but find ways that you can also surround yourself with ambitious women who are striving when it comes to business, being entrepreneurs. Like, surround yourself with people who are better than you, because it will really motivate you to grow. If you are in a circle where everybody's just on the same level and there's no kind of elevation, or there's no kind of growth, or you're learning or inspired by the people that you're around with, you can really find yourself on the same level and not excelling and growing in the way that you'd want to. And even if you can't be tangibly in the presence of women who are really killing it in the game right now, listen to podcasts. Like, it's not all the time that I'm able to be around women who are, for me, it's in the film industry and entrepreneurs within the beauty industry as well. It's not all the time I have access to that, but something that is such a blessing for us is the access to like things like YouTube and podcasts, where you can listen to women and their stories and what they've done and their come ups and just how they got to the place where they got to. Like, honestly, tapping into these type of women and listening to these type of conversations and surrounding yourselves with these type of women who are excelling in life will really kind of stir that hunger in you to just keep going and to keep being motivated and to keep pushing and just not let this life pass you by. Honestly, really and truly, some people can really bring you down, especially when you're trying to grow, and their comfortability with you being on the same level of them is their kind of like safety blanket, and you kind of expanding beyond that makes them uncomfortable. I think having some evaluation about your immediate circle or who you spend your most time with is really, really important. You don't want the wrong person speaking the wrong things into your ear, and then it completely deters you from where you're trying to go. So yeah, honey, make sure them surroundings are elevating you and pushing you to be better. The next thing is building confidence. Successful women are building confidence, and confidence can be something that is established in the uncomfortable. You got to be doing things that will challenge you to overcome certain fears that you have towards yourself, or certain feelings that you have towards yourself, especially in this world where a lot of the business industry and a lot of the corporate world is dominated by men, and they have a tendency to have these kind of preconceived notions of how women are, and that we can't really be leaders. You have to be so intentional when it comes to working and building your confidence, so that any kind of external put down will not shake you from where you're meant to be, what you're trying to say, what you're trying to communicate. You will stand 10 toes down. Being a confident woman adds so much to success, because something that I've learned recently is that, say for example, you're trying to pitch to someone, you're trying to pitch to an investor, and you want them to buy into your idea. Someone who's not confident, who can't articulate themselves properly, who's nervous, who's all over the place, you're not going to win anybody. One of the biggest things that allows investors who have access to a lot of funds to buy into the things that you're trying to sell them is passion. It's not necessarily what you are trying to bring to the table, even though that plays a part to a degree. But a lot of the time they focus on the passion, how you communicate, how you carry yourself, the confidence that you bring into a room. There was a conversation that I had with someone who was a voice coach who can help people how to speak confidently when they're going into networking rooms or they're pitching in front of investors. And one of the key things that he said was that you are already judged based on your body language and how you approach somebody. People already have an impression of the type of person that you are. So that's why it's so important to practice how you walk into a room, how you better establish eye contact, how you speak. Confidence can be such a deal breaker in certain given situations, and you want to make sure that's on 110% always. Even if you don't feel confident, fake it until the confidence comes, but be doing stuff that will build your confidence and allow you to walk in that confidence fearlessly. So I want you to just think about what areas that I'm not necessarily confident in, and then once you've had your time to do that evaluation, now you're going to assess these things and see what are you going to do, what are the intentional steps that you're going to take in order for your confidence to be a lot better in that particular area. So for me, one of the areas that I really struggled in was public speaking, and in the profession that I'm in, that is just a given. Like, there are so many moments and opportunities where I'll have to speak, and it used to paralyze me, like standing up in front of people and knowing that I'm gonna have to say something, and just my voice getting all shaky, and I'm nervous, and I'm just having an internal meltdown. And when I'm thinking these things now, I'm just like so aware, so I feel like everybody else can see this within me. But I had to be very intentional. So even in moments where I didn't want to speak in front of crowds, I would just do it. I would literally volunteer myself. If I'm working in a production team and everyone else is kind of shying away from being the person who would speak, I would step forward even though I wouldn't feel qualified to, or really anxious or nervous to. But these are the kind of intentional steps that I did. I put myself in uncomfortable situations to make me more of a confident and comfortable woman. Looking back at the type of woman I was and just seeing where my confidence is now and what my confidence has done for me, yes, intentionality in that area has just changed so much. So that's one thing I really want to encourage you, is to work on your confidence. Another thing that successful women are doing is that they are looking after their well-being. We do not want to run ourselves dry, where we're not pouring back into ourselves, where there's not any aspects of self-care. How can you be a successful woman when you're running on empty? Well-being is absolutely key. Prioritizing days of rest and having balance in your life is essential. Burnout is never cute. Burnout will never be cute. And burnout can literally almost get you to a place where you feel like this is not meant for you anymore. I would encourage you to always find moments where you can step back and relax. Whether that's one day a month you get a massage, you do self-care treatments, where you invest in things that you enjoy doing, whether that's cooking or trying a new recipe, whatever it may be. Don't drive yourself to a place where you are completely burnt out and that you look disheveled. That is not what we're trying to do in 2025, because so much of the time we always hear you need to be grinding, you need to be hustling every day, and it seems like you're always constantly trapped in this rat race of just like, if I stop to breathe, I'm wasting time. If I stop to just gather myself or do something that I love, then I'm not really serious about my ambitions and what I'm trying to do for myself. That is completely not true. Rest and looking after your well-being is so important, because you will fuel that rest into the things that you enjoy doing, into the business that you're trying to establish, into the successful woman that you're becoming. Like, it will become a part of your everyday joy. So it is important to look after your well-being. Another area that I think is so important when it comes to being a successful woman is managing your time well. I know for a fact with me, I can't just get up and just go with the flow with the day, especially if there are a lot of things that I need to get done within that particular day or within the week. Structure is so important. So having a routine is going to be a great thing to implement as you grow to be this successful woman, because it helps you to build healthy habits when you have a routine, and it just reinforces that productivity to just be at its best potential, and that you know what you're giving to whatever the day throws at you. Try to just see areas where you are time wasting a lot. I recently downloaded on my phone this app where it blocks you from social media from whatever time frame that you set, and it's just been so good. Getting up and the first thing that you're doing is you're on social media is such a bad way to start your day. So you need to like take a step back and just look at the areas where a lot of time is being wasted and try to evaluate, okay, how can I manage my time better, and how can I have structured social media time? And it doesn't mean that everything has to be so rigid and regulated, but if you want to be someone who manages time well, having a routine is really good. And it doesn't mean that you need to have a routine for every single part of your day. It could just be something where you have a structured morning routine, and then you kind of navigate whatever you need to do within the afternoon and the evening in whatever way you see fit. Or you could have a solid evening routine where it just helps you to prepare and be ready for the next day. I think routines are great, and it's something that I have been doing a lot more within the last 6 months. Not to say prior to that I didn't have one, but making sure that I had something that was actually sustainable and achievable, and it was something that I can do on a daily basis. And now it just feels like second nature, and it doesn't seem like this kind of daunting thing of like constant repetition, but I see it as something that's benefiting me and the direction that I'm heading. I hate seeing stories where people talk about how much time they've wasted. It's just so heartbreaking, and like, we can't go back in time. We can only go forward and learn from these things and be better. So managing your time and kind of eliminating procrastination and just not getting on with the things that you need to be getting on with. So time management. And the final point that I wanted to leave on is taking pride in your appearance. And I know unfortunately we live in a world where people do judge people before they've even had the chance to open up their mouth. But besides that being a thing for the world that we live in, I think being a woman who takes pride in their appearance and carries themselves so well is such a beautiful thing to see. It adds to the notion of like you're showing up for yourself, and that you see it as you're deserving of self-care and looking after yourself and pouring back into your own well. As we go out into this world, we always want to put like our best foot forward and just making sure that we're giving the best that we can for ourselves in the everyday. And I feel like that also comes into how you take care of yourself. I used to hide behind hats a lot. I'd used to just have a hat on, put my hat on, and you know, for me there was never like an in-between. It was either I'm looking kind of bummy, and when there's the opportunity to dress up, then I'm dressing up. But there was no kind of middle ground where in the everyday I'm just looking after my appearance and taking care of myself. And once I started to practice that and to introduce that into my lifestyle, it just added to the joy of my femininity and womanhood and really the type of boss babe that I'm trying to be. So it's not to say that every day you have to put on a full face of glam or makeup or any of those things. I think it's just to make a conscious effort that you deserve to be looked after. You deserve to look the best that you can, and you'll see how much of a difference that makes when you step into a room, presence that you carry. And I know for me it's just been such a great thing. Like, it's just helped my confidence as well whenever I've just looked after my appearance and made effort for myself. And I guess these have just come from all the things that I've spoken in today's video, like when I had a better routine, then I can structure in time of when I'm going to do like my self-care or my makeup or my hair. It just helps create a lot more balance, and yeah, I just feel ready for the day. I'm just ready to like step out and go to my office and work, and it just, yeah, it's just a nice feeling when you look after yourself. These are all my kind of nuggets of wisdom that I've learned throughout this year, the last year, and it has just helped me so much. Like, I'm so excited for this year. I'm so excited to show you guys like all the things that I get up to business wise as a business owner who's trying to find her foot, but she's finding it, and it's just been amazing so far. So I'm just so grateful to God for everything that he's done. But yeah, I hope this video has encouraged you, and yeah, you become the successful woman that you're looking to become in 2025. So don't forget to drop me a comment, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in my next video.